Welcome to Social Science Weekly, where we take the most important social science papers, giving you just the facts and none of the spin. The paper we're looking at today is called A Causal Test of the Strength of Weak Ties, which is a paper published in Science this year. There are a range of big names on the author list of this paper, including Stanford economist Erik Brynjolfsson and computational social scientist Sinan Aral from MIT. The paper looks at how professional social connections can lead to job opportunities. It uses data from millions of LinkedIn users, LinkedIn being an online platform where people connect with fellow professionals and seek job opportunities. This makes LinkedIn the perfect venue for investigating how job opportunities arise from the different types of professional connections that people have. So the specific question the paper is looking at is whether job opportunities, job offers, flow from either what is called strong connections, and strong connections are close colleagues, the sorts of people you regularly interact with, or whether it's weak connections. So do job opportunities flow from those more numerous but more distant acquaintances, professional acquaintances with whom you rarely interact? Now, a unique aspect of this paper is that they actually have experimental data that really allows them to focus in on the direct effect of professional connections on job opportunities. So, in general in science, by using a randomized experiment, something that's actually quite rare in big social science studies like this, it's actually possible to cut through the kind of messy cacophony of cause and effect. So in the case of this paper, it means that we can really focus in on the specific effect of professional connections on job opportunities and ignore all the other things that might affect job opportunities, like qualifications or work experience and things like that. And the way they get this randomized experimental data is actually quite clever. So what they do is they take advantage of the fact that the engineers at LinkedIn actually are running numerous experiments all the time for the purpose of making sure that the algorithms on the LinkedIn platform are the best possible algorithms for the LinkedIn users. And it just so happens that one of these algorithms is responsible for recommending new professional connections to users, which is perfect for this study. And by the way, that is the People You May Know page if you use LinkedIn. And because different people are assigned to different algorithms at random, and some of the algorithms cause people to make more weak connections, and other versions of the algorithm cause people to make more strong connections. And by focusing on these few connections caused by the algorithms, we are actually able to isolate the direct effect of connections in the professional network on job opportunities. And this is because of the randomness. Now, another real plus for this study is that they ran the experiment 2 times. So once in 2015 and then again in 2019. And now, even though these experiments had slightly different configurations, both found the same core findings. And the fact that they were able to repeat the same results in 2015 in 2019 gives us confidence that the findings are not a fluke. Now, on to the findings. The data from the randomized experiment, it turns out, actually revealed something very interesting that is not visible when you just look at the raw LinkedIn data as a whole. When we look at the LinkedIn professional network as a whole, it appears as though people tend to get their job opportunities from strong connections, and this is true across the board. So what that means is that regardless of the industry that you work in, you will tend to receive job opportunities from close colleagues with whom you regularly interact. However, when we focus on the experimental data, that is those connections made by LinkedIn users because of the experiments with the algorithms, we see something different. We see that sometimes job opportunities actually arise from weaker connections, not the strong ones. We see that people in certain industries tend to receive job offers from those loose acquaintances with whom they rarely interact. And the industries where weaker ties are important are industries that require high-tech information technology skills. So skills like coding, artificial intelligence, robotics, and things like that. So if you work in an industry that does not require those skills, like retail or hospitality or something like that, then job opportunities will still tend to come from close colleagues, not loose acquaintances. One thing to bear in mind, though, is that these results actually come with a degree of uncertainty that you should take into consideration. So this is because even though there are literally billions of connections between all the different users of LinkedIn, now only a very small number of those connections occurred because of the experiments with the algorithms. So what this means is that in effect we're only able to take into account the small sample of connections attributable to the experiment, and therefore, because our sample is small, we're going to have more uncertainty. So wrapping up, this paper is unusual in that it uses actual experimental data on a massive social network. It takes advantage of the fact that the engineers at LinkedIn are always running these randomized experiments in order to improve the algorithms that underpin LinkedIn. And one algorithm in particular actually controls, to some extent, the connections that people make on LinkedIn. And what this LinkedIn data reveals to us is that even though it first appears that new job opportunities tend to arise from close professional colleagues across all different industries, this is actually not always true. If you work in an industry that requires a lot of high-tech IT skills like coding, then jobs actually tend to flow from loose acquaintances, these kind of people that you interact with quite rarely. That said, close colleagues still remain important in industries that don't require these high-tech IT skills. Okay, so as usual, we will provide links to this paper and any other interesting resources related to it in the description below. And if you found this useful, please like and subscribe. It helps us out and means that we can make more of this content. And to keep up to date with Social Science Weekly, you can get us on all of the different social medias. So that's it for Social Science Weekly, bringing you just the facts with none of the spin from the best and most important social science.